Today's podcast will be a little bit different because it's going to be a continuation of my quest for a fantasy football league championship. So the outcome has not been determined yet. The playoffs have started, and it's 2023. This is, I believe, my 5th year in the league, of the Smith Family League that was created by Christopher Smith. So Chris is the commissioner, and he has done this league for a couple years. And I have won. I've been in one championship game where I lost to Michael, and I probably would have won, but he had Alvin Kamara on the championship game. I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and had 7 touchdowns. I lost the championship. Not bitter or anything. You can't tell anything about that. But I'm in the playoffs. I have a bye along with my brother Rick for the first week. I was 12-2. Rick was 8-6. And Rick had one of the worst offenses in the league. In fact, he gave up more points than he scored this year, but he has a bye because he's in the weaker division, and my division is loaded. So, just to kind of give a perspective of the situation, I have a bye, and I play the teams that are ranked 4th and 5th. Rick gets the 6th seed versus 3rd seed. So as we look at that, it's going to be for Rick. Rick will play the winner of Teresa Smith. I'm just here for the fireball. Not sure what that means, but it's okay. Her team was 7-7. And she is playing I Got the Powers. That's Mike's team, 9-5. And as we look at the prediction from the computer, Teresa is scheduled to win that match. A little surprising, but a lot of injuries as we get into week 15. I would have rather played one of those two teams in the semifinals, but I've got really the top 2 teams left in the league, and that's Scott. He was predicted to win the league at the beginning of the season. He's had some injuries and some bad luck probably. All in to win. All in is from Allen. He's got the quarterback Josh Allen of Buffalo, probably the best quarterback this year. Against Christopher's team, 7-7 also, Hurts Locker, and that's based on the quarterback for Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts. So, Christopher's predicted to win that game, although his best player, Hill for Miami, is doubtful or questionable anyway, but he's predicted to win that by 6. And Teresa is predicted to win by a little bit over 6 as well. And then the winner of Teresa and Mike will play Rick, and I will get the winner of Christopher and Scott. So that'll be next week, Christmas Eve weekend. And obviously, I want to win. I want to go back over how it went this year. Well, I had a record of 12-2 for the year, and I've currently won 8 straight. I won my first 4, lost 2 in a row, and I lost 2 games in a row to teams not making the playoffs. Evan beat me by 1 point, and then my worst loss of the year was actually to Kayla, who had one of the top offenses. She beat me, and I lost 2 in a row. I haven't lost since October. So I just hate to have this season end that way. I ended up with a winning percentage of .857. That 57 is very meaningful to me. 12-2 record. And again, I won my division by 3 games. Rick's division was the West. I was in the East. Much tougher division. Rick record of 8-6. I think Rick started off very poorly. He was like 2-5, but he's won like 4 or 5 in a row, maybe more. He lost this past week, so he got blasted, had 53 points, but he'd won like 5 straight and clinched the playoff. So Rick was 8-6, Scott was 7-7, Teresa 7-7. The teams that did not make it in the West, Love to Win Butterflies and Kayla's football team. She needs to change the name of that team, by the way. 4-10. The West, Evan left. He started out well, but he lost several games down the stretch. He finished 6-8. Randy, last place, 5-9. And little Randy likes to rub it in. He likes to complain, and he likes to. When he wins, he's unbearable. You have to block him because he really crows and he really goes on and on about how he's got to blast everybody. Ended up losing his last 4. He was actually 5-5, and then crunch time, he lost his last 4 games to finish out of the playoffs. First time ever. He's been pretty good, but he has really done a lot of smack talk, a lot of trash talk, and it makes for a tough way to go for that week if you lose to him. Week 1, he won week 1, and I think he beat Evan, and then he said, I'm going to be blasting Brian's Lions here in week 2, and I beat him by 40 points. He played me again later on in the year, a game he needed to win to make the playoffs, and I beat him by almost 50. So I put that to rest. I played Scott, beat him, and I've had to go against Christopher twice and beat him pretty badly early in the season. Played him a few weeks ago. He had me beat, and I woke up. I played on Monday night, and my tight end, who I picked up, had a big day, 20 points, and I beat him by 2 points because he thought he had me beat. So I don't know what that means. I know it's tough to beat somebody 3 times, but I'm going to win. I'm going to beat him if I play him, but I have a feeling I'm going to be playing Scott. That's just my feeling. I might be wrong. We'll see what the results are when we continue this podcast next week. So after my commentary here, we will pause it for a week, and going into Christmas Eve, Christmas holiday weekend, with the nerves frazzled. But I believe I'm going to win. I think it's my destiny. And I have taken on the armor of God, and I think he's going to make me successful in everything that I do. And he knows this is my last hurrah, probably. So I'm very confident that I'm going to win. I want to give you my lineup. And I did something different. I fooled some people this year. I took my quarterback in the 3rd round. I took Christian McCaffrey, then CeeDee Lamb. Then I took my quarterback. Everybody says wait for the quarterback. I didn't. I took Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, and then went from there. And I think it really saved me. Although Patrick Mahomes has been a very mediocre quarterback this year. He is ranked 8th, I think, among quarterbacks with stats. But my saving grace is, I think I had the 3rd pick, I believe, and I took Christian McCaffrey. Nobody else wanted him, I think because of the fact that he's been injury prone, and he had an MVP season. He's going to be the MVP of the league, would be my guess. But with that 3rd pick, I took McCaffrey. He's ranked number 1. CeeDee Lamb is ranked number 2. I took him as my receiver, and I've had a pretty good success with my big 3. And I've also had some pretty good surprises. I ended up off the waiver wire getting Tank Dell. He was fantastic, but then he got hurt, so I can't use him. I had Josh Palmer, another great young receiver. He got hurt, and I lost him. So I had to pick up, which hurt me pretty badly. But I was able to get Devonta Smith, former Heisman Trophy winner. So I thought, well, He's got the DNA. I'm going to take him. He's had an up and down season, but when he's on, he's really on. So I have him. I picked up David Montgomery, and I got him as a backup, but he's done fairly well. He's slipping here lately. I picked him up because of the fact that my top running back that I lost, Stevenson, he's out. So I lost 3 major players who are my starters. So that's never taken into account when you lose. If I lose, which I don't plan to, I'll never hear the end of, well, you're making excuses. Cry, baby. Cry, cry, cry. I also have Cortland Sutton, who's been known historically in the league for 3 or 4 years he's been in as just an average player, can't score touchdowns. He's had a career season. Puka Nacua, who I picked up, and he's been great. He may be the rookie of the year. And I also picked up mid-season because I had Darren Waller. He's just been a flop. I don't want anything to do with him. I drafted Freiermuth for Pittsburgh, but their offense is crummy, so I just got rid of him. Since I picked up Trey McBride, he's had some big weeks for me. And I also have a backup that Rick gave up, Evan Ingram. Don't know why he did that, but he did. And he's helped me. I also picked up a fairly decent quarterback, Kyler Murray, just in case anything happens to Mahomes. I picked up Jackson Smith-Njigba. Randy gave him up. I picked him up. I've got James Conner just in case there's an injury with my running backs. He's up and down, of course. I also picked up New England's top receiver, Demario Douglas, although New England's offense is terrible. And I picked up Tyjae Spears, a rookie, who is the backup to one of the best players in the league, Henry, for Houston. Or Tennessee, excuse me. But if he gets hurt, then Tyjae Spears may be my guy. But my lineup then is Mahomes, McCaffrey, and Montgomery are my running backs, CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Puka Nacua, tight ends, Trey McBride. My defensive guys, I've got 2 good ones I picked up mid-season or near the end, really. People gave them up, and I picked them up. Roquan Smith, I think he's second in the league in tackles. He is the 8th ranked defensive player, but he's probably more than that. And Terrell Bernard, Buffalo linebacker, he's ranked 5th. I picked him up. They're both scheduled to have about 10 tackles each week. My kicker, who I was impressed with for years and could never get him, people let him slide this year, and I picked him up. Evan McPherson with the Bengals. Even though Joe Burrow is hurt, I'm going to stick with Evan McPherson. I'm going to ride him, dance with the girl. You dance with the girl who you brought. So that's my lineup. I think it's pretty solid. I'm projected, I should say, to get 118 points. No one else is close to that. And I will give you their expected points. Scott's predicted this week to get 103.9, so we'll say 104. Christopher's predicted to get 110, so he's predicted to win by 6, but nothing close to the 118. Teresa's predicted to get 110. Mike is predicted to get 104, so again, 6 points for both. In the losers bracket, or consolation ladder, but we call it the Toilet Bowl Championship. Lots of injuries there, and low expectations. Randy's predicted to get 80. Evan, 109. Kayla is predicted to get 120, so she's actually predicted to have more points than anybody, but she's out of it. Mary, 85. So that's the consolation. Kayla will probably win the Toilet Bowl. She's got a good team, and I'm glad to see her out of the playoffs. Rick is also on a bye, as I said, and let's see if I can bring him up here. I don't know if I can or not. He's probably predicted to get about 108 points or so. I'm trying to find him here. There he is, Midwestern Mavericks. He's predicted to have 107. So if he played me, I'm predicted to win by about 11 points. So you got to give Rick some credit. He's scrambled around. Started out 2-5. He's lost some big. He made a big trade with Randy, which has really kind of irked me. He made a trade at the very end of the season, right before the trade deadline, which I thought was going to save Randy because Randy had like 6 players on a bye and players hurt. And so he really went out of his way to help Randy. Randy gave him Josh Jacobs, who's not even playing this week. And Rick also got Devontae Adams, one of the top receivers. So that really helped Rick. And then Rick gave Randy, he gave him one of the top running backs in the league, Austin Eckler, who hasn't done much, and Brandon Ayuk. I asked Rick for Ayuk at the beginning of the season for a trade. No way. No one would trade with me this year. Nobody. So I think that's another reason why I'm sure that karma's going to do its thing. So I'm going to win the league. I just feel like that's who it's going to be. I don't care who I play. Do I pray about the FFL? Well, my feeling is God doesn't care about the FFL. He doesn't care about fantasy football, but he does care about my happiness. There's a scripture that I love: delight thyself in the Lord, he will give you the desires of your heart. And at 66, I don't have much to look forward to anymore, so I'm not going to let the worry and stress of fantasy football, which is kind of silly, ruin my Christmas. But as of this taping, it's December 16th, and the games start today on Saturday and then Sunday, and then we'll find out who the winners are after Monday night. And I'm going to predict, only because if Christopher has Hill who plays, I think he'll win, but I think Scott may come on. I'm hoping I have a very, very, very bad week this week, because I won't have it 2 weeks in a row, and I hope that the guy I play next week, I hope he has a huge day this week, because he won't do that again next week. I remember a few years ago playing the number 1 seed, Evan, who got a bye the first week, had a gigantic week, had 150 points. Then he had to play me, because I won my first round. And Evan was crowing, "Oh, you see my team, I got 150 points, I'm going to blast you." I said, "Nope, no one ever has 2 good weeks like that in a row." And he had about 90, 80 or 90. Big drop off, and I was able to put him away pretty easily on my way to the Fantasy Bowl runner-up title, which I should have won. I've had some bad luck, but it's my year. I just could never beat my brothers. I won 2 head-to-heads against them, and the last year they were all in the league in 2012. I won an FFL championship. I beat Jeff in the last week. I went from second to first. I was the first guy to ever do that in our league, and won barely. And I had to take a lot of grief from Jack, because I remember he was crowing and bragging that he won a championship, and I beat him. I said, "I guarantee I'm going to come back and win." I knew I had nothing to lose, so I could say that. Just like now, I can say that. But I have a lot of faith. I think God answers prayer. He doesn't care about fantasy football, but he cares about happiness. And I need to have some happiness in my life, and this will give it. Thinking very seriously that if I win, I'm going to bow out next year. I'm going to get rid of some things, including fantasy football and TV and those sort of things. But the NFL has kind of went downhill a little bit. There's just so much that goes on. There's fan violence in the stands, terrible violence, and we're having things like demonstrations and people kneeling and alternate national anthems, which kind of divides people. It doesn't bring people together, and I just don't think we need those sort of things and all the political things. So I want to focus more on spiritual things, so I'm leaning very heavily that this will be my last year, especially with all the grief I go through with the trash talk, and it gets kind of personal. And I haven't said one word this entire year. I refuse to say anything negative, positive. And when I win, which I'm going to, you won't hear anything from me. I'm sure some will be gracious. Rick usually is, and I'll say thank you. That's it. No crowing, no bragging, no payback. Nope, not going to do that. I don't think it's proper. I'm going to act like I've been there before because I have. And so I'm not big on the braggadocio and all the mocking, and it's pretty bad in the Smith family. That's what we're known for. That's Smith humor. So we're going to wind up. My prediction is Mike will be defeated by Mary. Rick will play Teresa. There'll be an upset there. There's always an upset in our fantasy football playoffs. And I think Scott will if Hill doesn't play, I think Scott will win. Otherwise, it's going to be me against my adversary, Christopher. Me versus Christopher, and I beat him twice already. And he's one who's kind of picked up the pace on the trash talk. And I remember a couple of times I left a lot of players on my bench, 30, 40, 50 points, and he always points that out. Always points that out. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to bide my time and wait to when it's me saying some things. So that's my one worry, is I don't want to leave my best players on the bench. So that's what's tormenting. What could have been. But it's my year. I will play Christopher next week. It'll be a tough battle. It'll be nerve-wracking, but I will come out ahead. I'll play Rick in the championship, and I will defeat Rick. Payback for 30 years ago when he made a big trade with Randy and got Steve Young and beat me. As I got second place, Steve Young went on to win the MVP and Player of the Year that year, thanks to that. And I don't forget things. It's 30 plus years ago. I don't forget. So stay tuned, because the best is yet to come on the journey to the Fantasy Bowl Championship on every now and then.